we've lost 3 winnable games, 3 games where we had 4-quarter leads. Glass half full, that's saying that we're close. Reality is that could still be, we could still be far away because these things have happened 3 weeks in a row.
That was Texans head coach Lovie Smith earlier today after his team failed to win yet again and remains one of just 2 teams in the entire NFL without a win. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again into the Fox 26 Sports Stream. As always, I'm Sal Manine, sports producer here at Fox 26. We're going to talk Texans. We're also going to talk some hoops. Believe it or not, the basketball season is here. The Rockets held their annual media day this morning before hitting the road to head to Lake Charles. They will hold training camp over the next few days at McNeese State University before returning home this weekend for the preseason opener. Yes, games are already set to be played Sunday night when they host the Spurs inside Toyota Center. And then U of H will hold their first practice for men's and women's basketball tomorrow. So we'll talk some hoops as things roll along. As always, though, if you want the most up-to-the-minute news, updates, nuggets, anything pertaining to the Houston sports scene, make sure you're following our sports director, Mark Berman. You can find him on Twitter. His handle is @MarkBerman. Fox 26. Now, we try to do this every Monday night just after 7 o'clock. There's a whole host of ways you can get involved. You can find us, go to our Facebook page, find us on Twitter, on our homepage, fox26houston.com, or by searching for our YouTube channel. Just search Fox 26 Houston in YouTube. You'll find our channel, and you can see us as we talk any and all things pertaining to Houston sports every Monday just after 7 o'clock. Astros have a day off, and story's really been the same with them for the past few weeks, really months, if you want to be honest, and that's when can the playoffs get here? They are zeroing in on the number 1 seed throughout the American League, probably not going to be able to catch the Dodgers for home field advantage throughout the playoffs should they meet LA in the World Series, but locked up the division last week in Tampa Bay, surpassed 100 wins on the year. Everybody right now, if you're an Astros fan, go knock on wood. Everybody is healthy, and so it's just a matter of keeping guys healthy, and October cannot get here soon enough. But we're, again, going to keep things focused on the Texans and the hardwood today. As you just heard Lovie Smith allude to the fact that his team is just a handful of plays away from possibly being 3-0 and atop the AFC South. Instead, they sit at 0-2-1 after a 23-20 loss to the Bears yesterday. I was there at Chicago, at Soldier Field in Chicago for it all. Is nearly nothing went right for the Texans when it came to stopping the run. And just about every other facet of the game, they were doing things that impressed you at times, and then it all came undone, as has been the case in each of the 3 games this season. It all came undone in the fourth quarter. Davis Mills in a tie game with a chance to lead a 2-minute drive and put his team on top, has a ball tipped at the line, intercepted by Roquan Smith, who was all over the place for the Bears yesterday, and he ends up returning it deep into Texans territory. I believe he was down at like the 12, and so the Bears just had to kneel on the ball at that point and kick the game-winning field goal as time expired. But even before you got to that point, the Texans had a couple of takeaways. Jalen Petrie, the rookie from right here in Stafford, former Baylor star, 2 picks and a sack, but in both instances, the Texans were unable to turn those takeaways into points. And the Texans also could not play a lick of run defense, as backup running back Khalil Herbert rushed for nearly 7.5 yards per carry, and the Bears basically got anything they wanted on the ground, and that is one of the many reasons that the Texans sit at 0-2-1. Let's hear from the team after yet another disappointing showing on the road, this time in Chicago.
I feel like we played all right. It was some things definitely that we could improve on. And, we just going to keep our head down and continue to work. We're not satisfied. And we understand that we got to do a lot more to help this team out.
We didn't execute it, honestly. You got to tip your hats to the Bears. They had a plan. They came out and executed up front. We weren't good enough today. Coach told us all week you got to come in here and make these guys a one-dimensional team. Our secondary played great, but up front we got to do exactly what the coach asked of us. To come in here, plug that run. We know it's going to be a physical game. We were prepped for it all week. We got to come out here and just execute.
Yeah, I'll take responsibility for it. Obviously, turned the ball over late in the game when we needed it. And that's the quarterback's job, is be able to protect the football and start building drives and moving us down the field to put ourselves in a position to win the games. So I'll take responsibility for it, but I thought overall we played well today. It's just a tough result.
Overall, just not a good day. Didn't look like we were a good football team out there today. We played a lot better than what we played today.
You're coming back home this week, and you're going to face Justin Herbert, who, if he's healthy, everybody knows what that Chargers offense can do, especially after they were upset a year ago inside NRG Stadium. Then you got to go on the road after that and take on the Jaguars, who look like they are the team to beat in the AFC South right now, and that's before you get to your bye week. And you don't really have another option at the quarterback position that, if you do want to say, all right, I've seen enough, no more Davis Mills. Kyle Allen was finally active for the first time this past Sunday as the backup quarterback, and Jeff Driscoll has basically been used as a runner or an option QB. And so is that really going to solve anything if you were to make any type of quarterback switch at this point? I think you can't say that Davis Mills is a franchise guy right now, but I also don't think there's any reason that you need to deviate from him, at least getting the starts throughout the rest of this season, and barring some complete turnaround where he does start to look like the guy that he was at the end of 2021, 2022, you can start thinking about, all right, do the Texans go QB in round one? Is it Bryce Young out of Alabama, CJ Stroud from Ohio State, Anthony Richardson down there in Florida? Because, again, Davis Mills' start to 2022 has not been what the Texans were looking for this season. Completion percentage down, and does not look like a confident quarterback at this point in time. You can see sometimes hesitant to throw the ball, a lot of checkdowns. Obviously, it's not entirely on him. That you could say play calling needs to improve, run game needs to improve, and you're starting to see some progressions in those two areas. But Davis Mills has been struggling so far in 2022, and so I don't think it's that far-fetched if you're a Texans fan to say, all right, start watching a lot more Alabama, Ohio State, Florida, because you may be looking for a QB sooner rather than later. All right, so that's where things stand on the Texans front. Again, they're back home Sunday to take on the Chargers, and then they travel to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. Then it is the bye week. But Sunday night, the Rockets will be at home taking on the San Antonio Spurs in the first game of the preseason. They, like the Texans, are in the midst of a rebuild, but they feel like they are ready to take a big step forward, especially with the way that their last season ended, specifically with their backcourt, the way Jalen Green took his game to another level after the All-Star break, and Kevin Porter Jr. had a great final stretch of the season, and both those guys, as well as their teammates, feeling good about where things stand as they head into the new campaign. Here's our sports director, Mark Berman, who was at Toyota Center earlier today as the team held media day before taking off for training camp.
It was the Rockets' annual media day. It's a chance for the Rockets staff to get photos and video of their players and coaches they'll use throughout the season during games at Toyota Center and in other areas. It's also the first chance for the media to get interviews with the players, Coach Steven Silas and GM Rafael Stone heading into the season. And Alperen Şengün, who proved last season he could become a force in the NBA as a player, says the Rockets will be a force as a team soon.
Maybe not season, maybe next season, but we believing every time we're gonna be best in this league. I believe in this, and then I think my teammates is believing this too. We have to learn other things first, because on season still we have a lot of good players in NBA. We're just gonna learn, and then we're gonna be best in this league one day. I believe in this.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. We got a lot of young talent, a lot of guys that's wanting to be a great team. We all got the mentality to do it. So, yeah, it's gonna happen sooner than later.
Yeah, 100%. We're working. We're young. As long as we just stay on the grind individually and collectively, and just figure out ways to win ball games early, I don't see why we can't be the best team in the NBA one day.
That's dope. Having my teammates embrace the fact that they want to be the best, and they want to be the best team one day. Having that mindset is what we need to have as a group, becoming better and making each other better each and every day to get to that point.
Kevin is in the final year of his contract, but says he's not concerned about it.
I said it last year. I stopped kind of worrying about that last year, and it's been that. And I still got the mindset. I got a team that represents me, and they handle that part. And for me, I just come in here and try to become the best players. And it hasn't been weighing on me because that's been my mindset.
It would seem Kevin is at peace with everything.
Being in the space I am now and looking back, it's a beautiful space to be in. I found joy in everyday life, not just coming in and getting on the court and shooting the ball. Waking up every day, I found a joy in that. Drinking water, being able just to walk and run. And once I was able to account the small things being a blessing again, it kind of just helped me with everything in every aspect of my life. So, like I said, the Rockets gave me the opportunity to even get to this point. So without the year I had last year, I wouldn't have discovered what this space would be. And it's a dope space to be in, and I've been in it for a very long time, probably the end of last season. So I plan on staying and letting this be who I am now.
Porter is part of a team that Jay Shante says will be
electric, because I feel like we got a lot of guys that do extraordinary things. I feel like this team is going to be fast, athletic. We're going to be the team that people hate to play against, because you're going to have to bring your track shoes.
And again, the team will be holding its first practice of training camp tomorrow at McNeese State. Mark Berman will be there, and so he'll have all the updates starting tomorrow afternoon as they work out for 3 days in Lake Charles, then come back home for preseason game number 1 Sunday night. A couple other news and nuggets from Media Day today. Jalen Green said he's put on about 10 to 12 pounds of muscle. Certainly looks bigger just looking at him than he did coming in as a teenager a year ago. But the way he finished his season, and if he's going to have a high usage rate, which is anticipated because of his style of play and the type of skill set he has, he's going to get banged a lot banged around a lot, and we certainly saw that last year. And so putting on weight should certainly help in that regard. And it's going to be a big year for Kevin Porter Jr. too, who I'm of the belief that the Rockets are taking the right approach, that you don't need to throw a giant contract at him right now. If you're getting the guy who you just heard right there sounded very grounded and like he's put the past issues behind him in terms of being able to be in more control both on and off the court. And then you get the guy who on the court was playing like he did the final 10, 12, 15 games of the season, then that's a guy that you can look to build around as a future piece. Otherwise, if you're just going super talented guy, but what else is he necessarily bringing to the table as far as being able to run an NBA offense as the everyday point guard? And we certainly remember last year when he reportedly got into it with John Lucas and ended up having to be suspended for a game at one point. So what Kevin Porter Jr. are you getting over the course of 82 games? It's going to be a big year for him to see, is this the point guard of the future for the Rockets and somebody who is a cornerstone along with a Jalen Green or a Jabari Smith Jr., or is this experiment run its course? But so far, he's saying and doing all the right things, and so it's one of the many things we'll keep an eye on as things roll along. Jabari Smith, who I just mentioned, the Rockets' first-round pick from this past summer, said he feels bigger and like he's actually grown. And when the Rockets released their official roster for training camp just a short time ago, he's listed at 6'11", as is Alperen Şengün. And so that's one of the things that happens sometimes when you do have such a young team, is sometimes kids don't stop growing until they get into their mid-20s. And so now you could have yourself two potential athletic 7-footers in your starting lineup right now. And so if Jabari Smith Jr., we know what he can do defensively, if he can show that the offense can come on a night in, night out basis at an NBA level, and if Alperen Şengün, who has the offense already at such a young age, if he can continue his development on the defensive side, then just as you heard Jae'Sean Tate allude to, maybe this Rockets team ends up being one of those plucky young teams that sometimes you see start to creep up, that all of a sudden other teams, you're not looking at them going, all right, they're going to contend for a championship, but you're looking at them going, that's not a team that I want to have to play. So a lot of youth, a lot of talent, a lot of positives on paper. Obviously, all 30 teams in the NBA are saying that right now. The Rockets certainly not going to contend for the NBA title this year, but they are at least believe they're laying the foundation to change that much sooner rather than later. So again, practice starts tomorrow. Make sure you're following Mark Berman, and he'll have the updates as they come out. And then our coverage will begin tomorrow afternoon from Lake Charles as training camp opens for the Rockets. Tomorrow afternoon is also when the UH Cougars men's basketball team will hold their first practice as they get set for training camp. And this should be a big year for the Cougs, who have been able to do it year in, year out now under head coach Kelvin Sampson. But by all accounts, they should enter the season top 3, certainly top 5 in all the national rankings, and have as good a shot as anyone to make it to the Final Four, possibly cutting down some nets and playing for a national championship. They're deep, they're talented, they're bringing in one of the best freshman classes that Coach Sampson has had in his tenure here, and even that anybody at U of H has had going back to perhaps the Phi Slamma Jamma Jays some 30 years ago. So a lot of excitement down there at Fertitta Center and the Guy V. Lewis Development Center. So make sure you are tuning in to Fox 26 tomorrow, and we will have all the latest as the Cougars get set to begin what should be another exciting season of men's college basketball. All right, so Astros are home tomorrow. We will have that for you. Tonight, coming up on Fox 26 News at 9, we'll have more from Rockets Media Day, plus some updates on UH football, who pulled out another nail-biter just squeaking by Rice to retain the Bayou bucket, but some big injury news. So we will have that for you coming up on Fox 26 News at 9. And again, at Mark Berman, Fox 26, for all your updates on Houston sports. And certainly you'll want to be following him from Lake Charles tomorrow as the Rockets open up training camp. All right, that will do it for this installment of the Fox 26 Sports Stream. For all of us here at Fox 26, I'm Sal Manine. We appreciate you dropping by. We'll see you next Monday night just after 7 o'clock. Take care, everyone.